Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with History. Today I have brought a very special guest to help us bake brownies.
Hey, I'm Andrew. I'm a brownie connoisseur, and I'm super pumped to be discussing these history topics today with Jada. As we bake brownies, we'll be discussing how NASA solidified America's role as a global superpower,
And how nonviolent tactics impacted the rights of African Americans in the South.
completely different topics, right? It's surprising to see how similar their impacts were on American history. But, of course, before we jump into all that, let's do a quick debrief on both topics.
Despite the fact that slavery in the United States was abolished in 1865, African Americans never received the proper treatment that they were promised. They were constantly faced with oppression through the Jim Crow laws, which legalized segregation, discrimination, and racial violence. They knew that this oppression would no longer be tolerated and had to figure out the proper ways to fight against it. Nonviolent tactics such as the bus boycott were some of the key victories toward African Americans gaining their rights in Montgomery, and eventually the majority of the South as they challenged unconstitutional oppression and applied pressure to authorities.
The Cold War, which lasted from March 12, 1947 to December 3, 1989, is considered to be an ideological war between communist countries led by the Soviet Union and democratic countries led by the United States, with each superpower dealing with the struggle of retaining the global strength and influence needed to spread their ideologies. The two countries battled not only through displays of weaponry and military superiority, but through scientific discoveries and technological advancements. The creation of NASA, formerly known as the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, solidified America's role as a global superpower by proving the country's technological, scientific, and military potential on a global scale, and showcasing American strength and dominance during the Cold War, a time where technological advancements furthered ideological superiority.
So, for the brownies, we will be using this baking mix from Trader Joe's. It's so good and I use it every time. So efficient, it makes everything so much easier.
Shout out Trader Joe's. For the recipe, we're going to need 4 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter, 1 large pasture egg, responsibly raised, and we're going to throw it all together.
Yeah, let's do it. Hey, so I was thinking about both of our topics, and it made me have this one question. If you had to choose which had more of a global impact, NASA or all of the non-violent movements that had occurred for different situations, which one would you choose?
I think in terms of global impact, I think NASA had a much larger global impact on the world than peaceful demonstrations. I think NASA, when you think about NASA, it's very easy to think that it was just sending people to the moon. But in reality, it was a symbol of American innovation during the Cold War. And it was a peaceful way to show power through science and technology. NASA also sparked international collaboration through projects like the International Space Station, which actually brought together the US and Russia, which were former rivals at the time. Many of the technologies today that we use come from NASA. For example, like GPS systems, camera phones, like even water purification systems were thanks to NASA and were developed because of space exploration. And I think NASA also played a huge role in inspiring people to pursue science, engineering, and math, and even shaping the way that children think about.
Yeah, I definitely agree that NASA had a huge impact on America's power global-wise. But I also believe that non-violent tactics such as the Montgomery bus boycott also had a large impact, and maybe even a greater one. I say this because, let's start off, African Americans were finally able to gain their voting rights and have Congress approve of laws which they can actually benefit from, like, for example, banning segregation in schools. And this is actually a huge outcome from these tactics. And we can also see how the world was inspired by these non-violent tactics, since people from other countries began using them to fight for their own rights, such as for gay rights, or And not only that, it also really shows the power that the people have, and that can be really inspiring when it comes to just again fighting for their own rights and their own beliefs.
It's pretty hard to say since both have had such a large impact globally.
So, if you're new here, one thing we like to do is we like to give out whatever we have baked or cooked to one person and ask them one question about the topic that we've discussed. So, let's go.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
Would you like to try our brownies?
Yeah, sure, why not?
There you go.
That's good. 5 big booms.
Boom, 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 boom.
Okay. Now I have a question for you. Which do you think was more important to American history? Peaceful, nonviolent protests, or the formation of NASA?
I would say that the formation of NASA was more impactful towards American identity due to us advancing our scientific innovations, which has allowed us to win the space race by launching the first man into the moon thanks to our Apollo missions. As right now, in the modern era, we have been able to advance and we're close to putting civilization on Mars.
Heard it here first, folks. The public agrees that NASA is the most important. Thank you.
Guys, this is so good. But thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Cooking with History. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for future episodes, events, and shoutouts. Don't forget to stop by Trader Joe's to get this amazing brownie mix. It's so good, guys. I'll also link in the description, I'll put in the recipe for this because this is something you guys really need to try. But thank you.